This month I'm taking on the No Meat May challenge, which means I'll be eating no meat for an entire month, which is a new one on me. So I'm going to make a vegan Mediterranean stew with chickpea dumplings. Now these dumplings are made with really simple ingredients you can find in your cupboards or just go down to the supermarket and pick up. And then we're also going to make a beautiful focaccia bread, which we're going to use to mop up all those wonderful juices. You're going to love it. Now these dumplings I'm really proud of. I've made them myself. They're quite innovative in the sense that they use very, very simple ingredients, but they bind together without having to use any egg, so they're perfect for vegans. And the secret ingredient in them is actually porridge oats. So everybody's got them in their cupboard, but the porridge oats expand in the juices, and as they expand they kind of bind together and make these delicious wholesome dumplings, and you're just going to love it. Let's go and do it. So first off, we're going to make the focaccia bread. Okay, because it's going to take a little while to rise, so if we get this going now, then we can move on to the chickpea dumplings and the stew in a little while. So first thing you need is some strong white bread flour. Okay, this is a 1.5 kilo bag. I need 750 grams, so if you can do the maths, that's half a bag. Okay, so I'm not going to weigh it because I never weigh anything. I'm just going to chuck it out straight onto the table like this.
Once on the table, I push the flour into a volcano shape and make a crater. Into the crater goes 1 sachet of fast action yeast, 1 tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. Then I fill the crater with warm water and mix all of the ingredients together in the water before pulling the flour in from the sides to form the dough, adding more water bit by bit as needed. Once a smooth dough is formed, I knead it for 8 to 10 minutes or until it becomes smooth and stretchy, and then it's ready for proving.
A little bit of olive oil into the palm of my hand, okay, just a little tiny bit, okay, not even a teaspoon's worth, and then I'm just going to smooth that all over the surface of the bread, okay, like so. That's then, all that does is stops it from sticking to this bowl when it rises, okay. So now it's going to go into the bowl, like that, okay. You must cover it. I like to use cling film, but you could, if you haven't got any cling film, just use like a wet kitchen towel cloth, and that would do the job. You just need to try and make sure that it doesn't get any air to it while you're trying to get it to rise, okay? So I want that right the way around. Just make sure it's covered. Okay, and you need to pop that somewhere warm, okay? I'm lucky because the sun's shining today, so I'm going to go and pop that just outside in the sunshine, and it should probably take around about half an hour to rise. What I quite like about a stew is that you haven't got to worry about any fine chopping really. I just kind of rough chop everything, rip it up, just get it done quickly, okay, because it's not going to matter. You want texture in the stew, you don't want, if you cut everything really small, it's going to go down to like nothing. So the onions chop dead easy there, like that. Okay, do another one, and so on. Okay, so we've chopped up all of our veg, okay. I've separated the two, so I've got the onions, some celery and the fennel here, okay, because that's going to go into the pan first, and then we've got the rest of the veg here, the mushrooms, the peppers, okra, aubergines and the courgettes. Kept them separate because they're going to go in just afterwards. You'll notice I haven't used any root vegetables like you would in a normal stew, and that's because these dumplings are so wholesome and tasty and like really filling. If you had all of that with the bread, it's going to be far too much. There's going to be a really light stew underneath, okay?
Once the onions, celery and fennel have started to sweat down and caramelise a bit, it's time to add the rest of the veg. When all the veg is in the pan, I add a few spices. A teaspoon of cayenne pepper and 1 of smoked paprika, which gives the dish a wonderful smoky flavour, and add a good helping of black pepper. Stir in the spices and add a can of quality cherry tomatoes with some tomato passata. And then make up some stock in the empty tomato can with a veggie stock cube and add it to the pan also. Finally, add a tin of drained cannellini beans and some green olives.
To there, okay, and now you want to work all of those veggies down to the bottom and make sure that the liquid is kind of sitting on the top, because you want that liquid to be soaking into the dumplings. That can just sit now there. haven't got a lid, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to drop the lid on, hold some of the heat in when that's going to go into the oven.
Now back to our bread dough, which after 40 minutes has doubled in size. I give it a second knead for a few minutes before roughly pulling and shaping it into a baking tray that I've greased lightly with olive oil. I then recover it and it goes back into the warmth for a second rise.
Right, we're going to make the chickpea dumplings now, which is going to be the star of the show. These are something I've come up with myself. Really, really proud of these because they've always gone down a storm with anybody who's a vegetarian or a vegan that I've given them to before, but also for everybody else, it's a dish that everyone really, really seems to like. I'm going to put a full tin and then another half tin, or 2/3 of a tin in there. So just get all of that out of there. Teaspoon to maybe 2 teaspoons of cumin seed, a teaspoon of ground coriander, salt, probably I'm going to go for about a generous teaspoon of salt, the tips of some spring onions, the rest of those chickpeas, the whole ones, okay, a bit of pepper. Right, so what we're going to do now is mix all that together and see what the consistency is like. Now at the moment, that does not resemble a dumpling whatsoever.
I keep adding the oats bit by bit until the mix gets to a point where I think that I can form a dumpling without it falling apart. I also add the zest of a lemon too. Be sure not to add too many oats because we're not making flapjacks here.
I think I might be able to even mould those now. So, and there is a chickpea dumpling. Okay, so you're going to make, that's probably about the size of a golf ball. Remember, these are going to expand, so they're going to end up like this kind of size. So you don't want to make them too big. So these are going to cook in the oven for around about an hour at 180. Halfway through the cooking process, we'll take it out and flip all of these over because we'll find these get a bit of a crust on them. So by flipping them over, you expose the wet side to the top and you end up with a deliciously evenly cooked dumpling. Okay, right, we've got the bread back out. It's risen exactly how I'd like it to, so I'm really pleased with that. You can see it's come up now, almost filled that tray from what it was. So now what we're going to do is, first thing I'm going to take is a wooden spoon and just going to dunk it into this oil, okay, just the tip of it, and that's going to stop it from sticking as I plunge it into the bread and make a load of kind of like divots, okay, like this. So just randomly stabbing the bread. You see it's dropping a little bit now, but that's okay because it will come back up as I put it in the oven. What's going to happen is the oil I'm going to drizzle over at the end will go into those divots and sort of like moisturize the bread when it's cooking and make sure it's really, really delicious. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some sprigs of rosemary in and around. So 1 or 2 laid on top. And then a few small bits in these holes because the oil, as the oil heats, is going to hit that and draw all of that flavour down into the bread and make it really, really tasty. So rosemary's quite strong, so you don't want to go overboard, but you do want to try and get a little bit in every mouthful as well. So small sprigs the way forward. Okay, right, now we're going to just dash some olives all over it. The dumplings have been in for around about half an hour now, looking pretty good. I'm going to pull them out and flip them over, as I mentioned to you earlier.
Just before everything's ready, I've knocked up a simple green salad of mixed leaves, avocado, spring onions and toasted pine nuts, tossed in olive oil and lemon juice.
Okay, right, so this has been in the oven now for an hour. The stew has been in for an hour, the focaccia's been in for half an hour. It all looks about ready, so I'm going to get it out if you want to have a look. So we'll go for the focaccia first. Okay, let's have a look at that. I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. Okay, delicious. Drop that to one side, and then we'll get the dumplings out. Looking like dumplings again now, as you can see. Incredible.
Finally, finish the stew and dumplings with a sprinkle of chopped parsley, and it's ready to eat. This vegan feast will impress everyone, not just your veggie friends.
This food is amazing. Please make sure you subscribe to Shropshire Lad. He can come again.
Do it. What do you think, Vee?